Alright, my YouTuber people who watch this, happy Valentine's Day to, I guess if you're eating chocolate. Sadly, I don't have chocolate, so I can't eat chocolate, because I don't have the chocolate to eat it. But I did have a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and Chips Ahoy, and popcorn. So, for you guys, this episode of the whatever I'm doing, Sun Love Discord. This one is gonna be a long one because it tells about when Trixie was Bellatrix, as in the last chapter, and the other one before that, and maybe the one before that, and sooner. So, anyway, let's get to it. Chapter 1, Bellatrix. The origin of Bellatrix, Trixie. When Chrysalis first laid eyes on the royal larva with purple eyes, she was delighted to at last have an heir to ascend the throne when she was gone. She planned to train her daughter into becoming a great and powerful ruler. Keyword, great and powerful. That would lead the change into battle for Equestria. So she named her Bellatrix, meaning female warrior. She wanted her daughter to adore royal life and hence spoiled her rotten. She even had a large room made for her and assigned several changes to be her personal guards and valets. Whatever Bellatrix requested, it was hers. Chrysalis even allowed her to have a doll and to decorate her room how she wanted. She told Bellatrix how she deserved only the best, for she was special, not just because she was a royal, but for her unusual yet gorgeous purple eyes and green hair, though that was entirely unusual because Chrysalis' mother had green hair. Naturally, all those praises and spoils went to Bellatrix's head. Even as a child, whenever she flew about the hive, she would hold her head up proudly and give her hair a show-offish flip. This brought disdain to the other changelings, but they knew they shouldn't complain about the heir to the throne. So instead, they gave her more praises, which only confirmed Bellatrix's belief that she was better than the rest of them. Things would have stayed that way if she hadn't discovered how much of that was untrue. At 5 years old, Bellatrix was ready to begin formal training with her mother. So far, the only much she knew was levitating objects when she needed them, though she preferred watching her valets do it for her. She and her mother went outside for their first lesson. "Now, Bellatrix," Chrysalis said as she paced in front of her daughter, "as you know, we changelings are capable of turning into any creature, with some limits, of course." "Like what?" Bellatrix nodded. "I thought you said I could do anything." "Well, for instance, we can't change into anything larger than 3,000 pounds in weight, like a giraffe or a blue whale. Besides, it would leave a mess anyway. The easiest thing we can turn into, because we have a equine physique, is a pony." Chrysalis levitated a picture of 3 ponies, one with a horn, one with wings, and one with neither. "Here you see 3 types of ponies: a unicorn, a pegasus, and another pony. The 4th type, an alicorn, which has a horn and wings, is very rare, and we must only take that form if one alicorn is out of commission. Not very good for simple camouflage, though." Yeah, Bellatrix said, waving her hoof. "So when can I start doing the changing stuff?" Chrysalis shook her head. "Bellatrix, darling, I do admire your ambition so, but you must be patient." The young prince rolled her eyes. Yeah, whatever." The queen sighed. "All right. We'll start with an alicorn, since that is the easiest. You'll just be turned into young creatures for now, but as you get older, you'll learn to take adult forms and even change your sex." "Huh?" "Meaning you'll learn how to change into a male." "Gross!" The queen shrugged. "Sometimes it's necessary. You never know what your victim might prefer." Chrysalis then instructed her daughter on the transformation process. Bellatrix attempted to try it out for herself by closing her eyes and focusing on the form she wanted to take. "Make sure you have a clear image of what you want," her mother reminded her. "Fur color, mane color, eye color, mane style, everything." "Okay, I got it," Bellatrix said with a nod. "Good. Now imagine yourself taking that form." Bellatrix tightened her eyes and scrunched her nose as she concentrated. After about a minute, her green flames surrounded her. She opened her eyes and looked down at her green hooves. "Hey!" she squealed. "I did it!" But when she looked up, she saw her mother with her hoof to her face. What? Gliss summoned a mirror. Bellatrix had succeeded in changing her body, but her mane, wings, horn, tail, and eyes had not changed. But I was trying really hard, she insisted. Gliss took a deep breath. No matter, it was your first time. We'll try again. And this time, make sure you're focusing on your whole body, not just one part. They spent the rest of the day trying to get the eloquent disguise right, but no matter how many times Bellatrix tried, there will always be something off. After the third time, she had managed to change her mane and tail, but her wings, horn, and eyes still gave her away. Sometimes she'd get the horn right, but not the wings, or get the eyes, but not the tail. Over and over and over, all day long, and she still couldn't get the full disguise. By sunset, Bellatrix was panting after the 1000th try, her horn being the incriminating body part this time. Maybe I can wear a hat, she asked with a nervous smile. Grisha just scowled and shook her head. I'll keep trying, Mother, the prince insisted. I'll do better tomorrow. But it took a month for Bellatrix to get the disguise right, no matter how late she stayed up practicing. When she finally did it, she had hoped her mother would shout for joy, but she only rolled her eyes, saying that it was about time. Her training over the next few years became more rigorous. Grisha pushed her daughter, hoping that her perseverance would make up for her lack of talent. However, it took even longer for Bellatrix to hide her wings for her unicorn disguise, and even longer for her to hide her horn. As her 12th birthday approached, she could not yet perfect the earth-pointing transformation. Nevertheless, Bellatrix was determined to please her mother, and stayed up until midnight, practicing her transformations and even trying to strengthen her levitation skills. Her mother had said that it was her strong point, which she added wasn't saying much. Teleportation proved to be even more difficult for Bellatrix. The farthest she could travel was a centimeter, so no one could tell she had even done anything. Despite how little she had accomplished, it was still tradition for the princess to go on her first hunt the day she turned 12. Start small on your first target, her mother had said. Perhaps a foal of some sort, or a large crowd where love is always in the air for the taking. Remember to show no mercy, but also be careful. Bellatrix came across a small town called Hoofington and disguised herself as a unicorn filly, since she found that easier than a Pegasus and an Alicorn would have raised too much attention. As she walked through the streets, she gazed in awe at her surroundings. She was surprised to see the ponies living in separate houses and to see the children playing strange games involving ropes and tiny metal balls. She considered going over to them to feed, but paused when she saw a group of ponies gathering around a peculiar wagon open up to look like a stage. Mares and goats, a male voice echoed. Goats and fillies, griffins and minotaurs and all those in between. Bellatrix figured a show was going on, and remembering what her mother said about crowds being good feeding grounds, walked up to the stage. She pushed ahead of the crowd to get a good view. Raise yourselves, the voice continued, for what you are about to see will shock and amaze you. Feast your eyes on the wonderful, amazing magic of Oscar the Great. In a puff of smoke, a green cloaked figure appeared on stage. All Bellatrix could see of the pony was his blue eyes underneath his green top hat. Then his cape switched open and doors flew out. Bellatrix's eyes widened in wonder at the light brown stallion with the brown beard. The crowd cheered, and the stallion, Oscar the Great, tipped his hat and bowed, revealing his horn and a waving brown mane. Thank you, he exclaimed, putting his hat back on. Now, for my first trick. Bellatrix watched in amazement as a unicorn stallion made rabbits and birds appear and disappear, turned water into oil, and made sparkling lights called fireworks spring up behind him. She didn't even pay attention to the crowd's adoration for the magician that was pouring into her. And now, Oscar the Great announced, I should like a volunteer from the audience. Many ponies raised their hoofs, the foals jumping up and down. Bellatrix, suddenly feeling a little shy, tried to shrink back in the crowd. Oscar noticed her, however, and pointed to her. How about you, little lady? Bellatrix straightened up, glancing around and pointed to herself. Me? Yes, you. Come up and join me. She grinned in excitement and raced up the steps. Now, what's your name, little filly? She paused. Should she say her real name? Bellatrix. Bellatrix? Oscar said, tapping his chin. Unusual name, but I think it suits you. She blinked. Really? Of course. A pretty little feel like you deserves a pretty name. She couldn't help but blush. But wait! Oscar gasped. What? I think something's wrong with your ear. What? She exclaimed, putting her hooves to her ears. Let me see, he said, looking closer at her left ear. Ah, there's a problem. There's something stuck there. What? What is it? Why, it's He reached behind her ear and Bellatrix gasped at the black and white stick he pulled out. A magic wand! I didn't see your horn glow. How'd you do that? He winked. A magician never reveals his secrets. Here, hold this for a second. Bellatrix couldn't help but squeal as she took the wand in her hoof. A large tank of water then appeared on stage. Now, mares and gentle-colts, Oscar announced. I am going to chain myself with these. He summoned a pile of chains, and climb into the tank and try to escape before I run out of breath. The crowd and Bellatrix gasped in alarm. Oscar pulled her close. Now, Bellatrix, this is very important. When the curtain falls on the tank, I want you to count to 10 and then tap this wand on the tank 3 times and then say the word abracadabra. Then I want you to lift the curtain off the tank. Got it? She nodded. I think so. Good. Then he began strapping the chains to himself and climbed into the tank. Wish me luck, folks. He took a deep breath and resubmerged as a red current suddenly covered the tank. Bellatrix nervously counted to 10, tapped the wand 3 times and said the magic word. Then her horn glowed as she tugged the curtain out the tank. Every guessed he did that only the chains remained. Then Oscar hoofed on stage and the crowd erupted in applause. Bellatrix clapped her hands together excitedly. That was incredible, she exclaimed. I've never seen such magic as this. Oscar chuckled. Well, Bellatrix, any pony can do these things with the right amount of practice. And I couldn't have gone out there if it hadn't been for you. He lightly touched her chest. You've got the magician's gift. Her eyes flashed slightly at the thought. You really think so? I have a good feeling about it. Bellatrix looked down at the wand and handed to him. He held up his hoof. Keep it, kid. A little something to get you started. In fact, he took off his hat and turned it inside out, transferring it to a pointed purple hat decorated in yellow and blue stars. Bellatrix bounced excited as the hat fell onto her head. Unfortunately, it was so big that it fell over her eyes. You grow into it, Oscar said, lifting the brim off her new hat. Then he turned back to the audience. Let's give a big coup for Miss Bellatrix here. The ponies cheered, and Bellatrix could literally feel the love transferring to her. But that wasn't what was making her heart pump. The applause, the praise, the cheers, they made her feel so important, so loved, so powerful. As she bowed, her head fell off and she noticed a piece of paper inside. It was an autographed poster of Oscar the Great. She smiled up at the magician, who winked at her. When Bellatrix returned home that evening, Christmas was not only surprised to see a magician's hat on her daughter, but a giddy grin. Mother, it was amazing, the princess exclaimed. There was this magician, and he made all these things appear and disappear, and he made these things called fireworks, and he called me up on stage so I could help him escape this tank of water, then he gave me this cool hat and wand, and what about your hunt? The queen interrupted. Did you train any ponies of their love? Bellatrix blinked. Oh, right. The hunt. Well, I suddenly got a lot of love when the ponies started cheering for me and shouting my name. Oh, Mother, it felt so wonderful to be adored in such a way. But did you get enough to feed? Oh, I think so. Chris's horn glowed as she looked her daughter over. Well, since you've had a decent fill anyway, not entirely terrible for your first hunt. Next time, however, try something a little less artificial. Bellatrix frowned for a second, but then brightened up. Mother, do you think I could do magic stuff like Oscar the Great? Her mother raised an eyebrow. Who? Oscar the Great, the princess repeated, showing the poster. The magician I was telling you about. Gusa shook her head. Darling, that's not real magic. Magicians can't do any real magic, so they use illusion. But don't use illusion all the time. That's different. Our transformations are real. He cannot truly change things, only make it seem that way. But when he put that one out of my ear, a simple sleight of hoof, Any pony can do that. So that means I can too? Chris's rolled her eyes. Bellatrix, if you're going to rule the changelings one day, you must avoid any silly distractions. Bellatrix frowned as her mother lifted her head from her. What are you doing? Princess of the Change cannot go flying around with the ridiculous. Please let me keep this up, Mother. I only wear it when I'm alone. No, the princess stamped her hoof. It's not fair. You've always got me what I wanted before. The queen groaned. Fine. Just don't wear that thing in public. Bellatrix glanced at Harry returned to her. Thank you. But no more of this silly magician stuff. You are only to serious magic. Understood? The princess grumbled. Yes, Mother. But Bellatrix didn't stay true to her word. Whenever she would go out hunting, she would take a chance to see Oscar's Great or any other magician she would happen to stumble upon. She even swept a magic cave on Toy Store and would practice card tricks and making objects appear when she was alone. She even found a way to fake teleportation, though the puzzle's function may confuse her mother. While she got better at these little tricks, her transformation still progressed slowly. She eventually got the hang of Earth Pony disguise, but when it came to other species, the best she could do was a donkey or a cow, and those weren't nearly as impressive. Sometimes she turned to a white dunk with brown spots, or a cow with long ears. Yet Bellatrix wasn't giving up on improving her magic. She got her hooks on magic books from libraries and studied complicated spells. Chris's didn't object to this, thinking her technique might improve. However, the only magic she seemed to excel in was what her mother called the artificial kind. The queen infant took notice when Bellatrix's puff snug diminished before she could duck out of sight. The guards then reported finding a magician's kit in her room. When Bellatrix was 18, her studies had not gone as well as Chris's had hoped. She decided it was time to give her daughter a real challenge, so she called her forth. Bellatrix suspected something was wrong when she approached her mother's throne and the entire colony was hovering around her. Nevertheless, she tried to put on a bold face and stood erect before her mother. My dear daughter, Chrysis said, shaking her head, it has come to my attention that you are rather behind on your studies. I've tried, Mother, the princess insulted. I practice every night. Yes, I know. A pack of cards appeared between them. I know how much you practice. Mother, that's just a hobby and it's actually helped. You're wasting your time with this magician nonsense. You really think card tricks and plastic ones are going to get you power? But, oh, Bellatrix, 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 the queen said, shaking her head again. You must understand. A ruler must be great. A ruler must be powerful. She hovered over to her daughter and lifted her chin. Unfortunately, my dear, you are none of those things. The princess's eyes were watering. But I've tried. I'll try harder. I'll do better. Ah, so emotional. So passionate. I've actually thought you had a heart. You have a heart when get in the way of things, for it always seemed set on power. I would have taken it out years ago, but it seems to be the only thing that has kept you going this long. I only live to please you. You know that. Yes, I know. Quilcis turned around and hovered back to her throne. I only have one option left for you, Bellatrix. Perhaps it would be better if you were to live on your own for a while. The princess blinked. What do you mean? The queen sat on her throne and addressed it simply. I, Queen and Insector Arachnid Christus Changeling III, hereby decree that Princess Bellatrix Insector Arachnid Changeling shall henceforth be exiled from the Changeling Hell for 5 years. What? Bellatrix snapped, passing up to her mother. You can't banish me. Christus smirked. My dear, I just did. Where will I go? What will I do? I'm your daughter. If you can learn to fend for yourself out there, then you've proven yourself a true ruler and changeling. But you told me what happens to changelings who leave the hive. They don't survive long. Ah, but you're royal and have a long life expectancy. Besides, if you're truly clever enough to be queen, you'll figure it out. Don't think of this as punishment, dear. Think of it as an extendification, or a lesson that needs to be learned. I'm giving you an opportunity, not a punishment. If you wish, I can have the guards escort you safe to the nearest town. Bellatrix huffed. I will let myself out, thank you. She turned around and hovered toward the exit. She turned back to her mother and narrowed her eyes. I'll show you. I'll show you all. Quistis only rolled her eyes as her daughter vanished. I certainly hope so. Bellatrix kept her head down. She walked further and further away from the hive and deeper into the forest. She paused for a moment to look back, and then closed her eyes as she tried to hold back her tears. Then she growled in anger. After everything I've done to please her, she throws me like some useless house pet. She trudged on, not caring where she was going as she continued grumbling to herself. 18 years of enduring her criticisms, practicing day and night, working to become the queen I was born to be, and this is the thanks I get. She started making crystals. A ruler must be great. A ruler must be powerful. Bellatrix started to look at her reflection in the puddle. I'll show her great and powerful. As she examined her appearance, she realized that she was going to be living in the outside world. She would need a new identity. She ran her hoof through her green mane as she thought of what she could do with herself. She uttered. I've always liked the color blue, but that doesn't look good with green. I could keep the eyes, though. That way, no pen could question those stupid flashes. I could be an alicorn. Nah, I'd look suspicious. If I become a unicorn, I could still do magic. Now, what about my cutie mark? Can I go on with a blank flank? What talent could I at least fake? Her horn fizzed for a second, and she grinned. Perfect! Bellatrix looked back in the water. She changed into her chosen disguise. Her sleek black body sprouted blue fur, a picture of a wand and a sparkling handkerchief growing on her flank. Her copper green hair softened, turned platinum with light blue highlights and gently curling upwards. Her wings and shell vanished and her horn became better formed. The slits in her eyes shaped round black pupils. Once she saw her new reflection, she smiled. Ooh, not bad, she exclaimed, looking at herself from all angles. Not bad at all. She ran her hoof through her silky new mane. Definitely won't need conditioner. She turned so her flank was visible in the puddle. Ooh la la. The stands won't be able to resist me. She caught sight of her new cutie mark. Well, I've always admired the great magicians, and everyone would adore me once I joined them. She tapped her chin as a new idea occurred to her. Of course, every magician needs to look the part. She remembered the hat she had left at the hive and used her magic to teleport to her. She put it on and gazed at her reflection again. Perfect, she chuckled darkly. Simply perfect. Though I should probably get a cape somewhere. She lifted her head and glared at the faraway image of the hive. Just you wait, mother, she growled. I will be great. I will be powerful. I will be the greatest, most powerful changeling. No, the greatest and most powerful queen that has ever lived. All shall bow to Queen Bellatrix, the great and powerful. As she said this, she dramatically threw her front hooves in the air, and, as a magical reaction, fireworks exploded behind her. But the fire was suddenly extinguished when the changeling's face turned in disgust. Ugh. That doesn't really fit, does it? She turned to her husband and tapped her chin. Okay. The great and powerful Bellatrix? Nah, too many syllables. This body doesn't even look like a Bellatrix. Something short, something snappy. Bella? No, sounds like a dumb vampire, though that would be appropriate, considering. Did she just make a reference? That was totally a reference. Belle? Nah, too girly. Trix? That sounds like cheap cereal. Trixie? She paused. Trixie. Her lips curved to an evil grin. The great and powerful Trixie! Huh, has a nice ring to it. She turned back to the hive one last time. Her mother was right about one thing. This punishment wasn't a punishment. It was an opportunity. An opportunity to prove that she was a true changeling. You'll be sorry, Mother. You'll be sorry you ever kicked your daughter out. She looked at the path ahead of her. Princess Beatrix is gone. Long live the great and powerful Trixie. On the road to the nearest town, Trixie had the fortune of meeting a zebra selling her wagon. Trixie kept some bits in her hat for such emergencies. On the downside, she had to pull the wagon herself. She reached Hoovington where she put on her first show, using tricks she had been developing over the years. She was a success and earned plenty of bits. The first thing she bought was a purple cape. She used her magic to make the pattern match that of her hat. As time went on, Trixie traveled from town to town, showing off her magic. Sometimes she had to make up stories of her accomplishments to grab Pony's attention. Well, when there wasn't much of an audience, Trixie would hang out with a few groupies. Their adoration was like chili peppers. If she had kept it up, she would have gained enough power to impress her mother, had it not been for her run-in with Twilight Sparkle. As if humiliating her was enough, Trixie found more reason to get revenge to Celestia's prized pupil. Months later, she heard there had been a changeling at Canterlot, which enraged Trixie. Her mother had already started her takeover plans without her. True, she failed, but the idea was still insulting. The straw that broke the camel's back was a news story on Twilight Sparkle's latest victory over Queen Chrysalis. According to the article, Chrysalis had intended to turn Twilight as dark as her in order to make the unicorn her pupil. Purple. Trixie had not only crushed the paper, but stepped it to a crisp. Even my own mother thinks Twilight's better than me. Well, I'll show her. This was the reason Bellatrix never took a new phone to start over. And next time she met Twilight Sparkle, she wanted her to be aware of who she was dealing with. Of course, she couldn't prove her magic overnight. She heard rumors of a powerful necklace called the Eloquent Amulet, and spent months searching for it, until she found it in an old antique shop. Unfortunately, that plan didn't quite work. Yet again, Twilight had outsmarted her. Not long after her defeat, Trixie took time to reflect on her actions. That had made her do things she had never dreamed of doing. She had spent years training others of their love, but never really hurt any pony. She hadn't liked it. She hadn't liked it one bit. She was a performer, not a dictator. She wasn't her mother. That was why she felt compelled to apologize to Twilight Sparkle. Bellatrix hadn't quite forgiven her yet, which was why she did it as Trixie. She set out to start anew, to figure things out. That's when she stoned to Demondia, where the Diamond Dogs, saying she had made her proud of some gems, made her queen. It was glorious at first, and she couldn't wait to inform her mother about her sudden rise to power, until Trixie realized how difficult it was being queen. The Diamond Dogs wouldn't let her leave and kept expecting her to produce more gems, which she could not do. She was lucky that Rainbow Dash had agreed to get her out of that jam. Something about having some pony at her side made Trixie feel wonderful, and she started pondering on that friendship thing Twilight was always talking about. So once she was free from Demondia, Trixie decided to focus on her magic and helping others, hoping to find the path rewarding. 5 years went by quicker than Trixie had anticipated. When she crossed out the big red circle on her calendar, she felt disappointed. 5 years ago, she would have been thrilled that her exile was finally over. But now, her heart wasn't in it. In her exile, she'd become a huge success as a magician and was now a household name. She'd also been helping with the police, the homeless, and orphans. Some of those deeds had been for publicity, but she later found the activities rather enjoyable. There was something fulfilling about bringing joy to the ponies' lives. The idea of sucking them all dry made her feel sick. And yet that's what her mother wanted her to do. Once she was queen, Bellatrix was expected to take over Equestria, if her mother never succeeded in doing so herself. Bellatrix didn't want to do that. Sure, ponies were her main source of food, but she never took more love than she needed. Besides, after the incident in Demondia, it was clear Bellatrix wasn't cut out to be a ruler. So she knew what she needed to do. Chrysalis smiled when she saw her daughter buzz in the hive. Ah, my sweet Bellatrix, she exclaimed, putting her hoof around her. You've returned, at last. My, how you've grown. Bellatrix frowned as she wriggled out of the queen's grasp. Mother, we need to talk. Of course, my dear. Now that you're back, it's time we take a train to the next. There's no need for more training, Mother. Chrysalis blinked, but then smirked. I see. You see, not Z. See! See, my Capitan. No. You think you're fully prepared for the throne? Well, my dear, we still need to test what Bellatrix means, Mother, is that Bellatrix will not be trained here anymore. The queen arched an eyebrow. What do you mean? The princess placed her hooves firmly on the floor and stood up straight. Bellatrix wishes to abdicate her position as Princess of the Changelings. Chrysalis jumped back. You're not serious, are you? No, Mother. Bellatrix is quite serious. Why are you referring to yourself in third person? What has the outside world done to you? Help Bellatrix see clearly. Mother, before Bellatrix thought all that mattered in the world was power, but now she sees that there are more important things, like friendship, Love, think of others rather than yourself. Who taught you such vulgar language? What happened to my daughter? The changing who would have done anything to get what she wanted. That Beatrix doesn't exist anymore. She has changed. Beatrix is very sorry, Mother, but she can no longer live in this house after all she has seen. Christus clenched her jaw and looked back, about ready to explode. Then she took a deep breath and looked calmly down at her daughter. Very well, my dear. Do what you like. Doesn't matter to me. In fact, I already have a replacement. I've just given birth to a prince. Beatrix nodded. You would do that, wouldn't you? As soon as you find a more powerful candidate, you cast your own daughter aside. Beatrix knows about your awful twilight sparkle, Mother. She knows you want her to replace Beatrix. She turned her back to her. And you wonder why Beatrix prefers the world out there to here. And with that, she departed the hive without looking back. So powerful. Many years passed, and Trixie found that the size of her audience was declining. She knew this happened to all performers eventually, but didn't know what she'd do if she couldn't perform. She can't go back to the hive. That life wasn't for her, and she wasn't wanted anyway. What she needed was new material, or to at least shake things up a bit. While she was walking through Trottingham, pondering on this, she passed by a theater with a large crowd in front. She caught sight of a poster with a blue minotaur on it that read, "The Incredible Iron Will." She had heard of this minotaur and that he'd been giving in motivational speeches for decades and his popularity had yet to fall. Trixie figured it wouldn't hurt asking him for a few pointers and